questions with the theme, 0 questions on the theme, then questions to Manel, speaker, and then the community board select last slide, 1 question. Brief introduction. If you have not heard of CreativeMornings before, which I know you have, and some must have, it started in 2008 in New York by Tina. Just wanted to bring her friends together, and it became a bigger thing later on. So now it's part of this project platform. They are now 224 cities, chapters that are connected to CreativeMornings. 67 countries, and we'll see what will happen in the future. And I'm proud that now we have a Stockholm chapter with amazing volunteers bringing the events together and make it happen every month for 3 months in May. And we've been the 8th global chapter to start. It's great to have and to mention, so it feels more important. Yes, there is 1 monthly theme. Roughly the amount of chapters I told you. And yes, there is an event happening every month, and the theme is what unites all different chapters. For example, we met by chance, maybe, with a host of Istanbul chapter last week, it was. And they also have an event today, and they also talk about the monthly like we are. And the theme is now, we shall global sponsors, MailChimp, and this is how we send you the emails. If you register, if you haven't registered, you take an email. And MailChimp also creates this benchmark report that you can have a look at if you want to. We have to show it to you, and yes, it is important. And the Stockholm team will introduce us. We have Adriana. Hello. Was welcoming you. Together with Aquila, was also welcoming you who came through the main door, maybe on the main door. Anastasia, it's me, Michelle.
Hello everyone.
She was putting the email together for you and lots of other things, but the email is something that you're most proud of every time you see it. And pictures. We have Anna. So all the visuals and including this presentation has been done by Anna. We have Evelina, who was responsible for partnerships and sponsorships. Then Sina, photographer, that you might have guessed, and he's currently checking the pictures, if you know who he is. And Andrea, she will be taking a video of the events now. So feel free to say if you don't want to appear on the video, but as you can see, it's shut from the back.
Yes, we never shoot people's faces, so no worries.
Perfectly left.
Yes, I know.
Our mission is to create a diverse and inclusive community, and I hope you feel it, and I hope it becomes more and more of a thing as we go. And this is something that we as a Stockholm chapter want to push more. But I know other chapters are doing this as well. Like I can also mention the Istanbul one when we talked. For them it was important, and it's nice to hear that. When you do pictures, if you choose, you can tag us. They are the hashtags on our Instagram page. We mostly use Instagram now. This is the social media we are focusing on. And our local legends. We have Olio, and this is the company that is run by mostly by people, by volunteers who are rescuing food from cafes and then sharing to the community. So the buns that we have here, it's been rescued from Olio, and they
also do restaurants.
Exactly, yeah. And there's also a part of it where people can say, "Oh, I have too much flour in my cupboard and I'm moving out," so someone can come and pick them. Nice. Easter, they are not here today, but they're sitting in Norrköping. They're working from here, and they fixed the venue for us, so this is why we can be here. So early in the morning in this beautiful space, where the sun could be coming in, but it's not. Just late, you can imagine that. And Havredals, they also sit in Norrköping, and this is the Oatly milk charity. try. And now I realize there is one more partner we have just this month, which is Pika, and this is the sandwiches that we have. And they are vegan and gluten-free. You should try them once again if you haven't. And they are a cafe that is here, also at Belgium, but they will be moving out next week.
Soon? To where?
Just from this venue, and they have other places.
There's one in Hornstull.
Exactly, this is the main one. So I don't know if they're open in that one, but there will be another cafe moving in here. I don't know if they're open. This information you have to. But yeah, Flip, I don't see it anymore. Yeah, they have just done a game review, so they are our contributors for today. And if you want to be an informal contributor by taking pictures and then posting it and tagging us, that's also a contribution. So feel like it's not Flip and maybe all of us as well. Main event, the monthly theme is now, which gives an opportunity for word games because the now is now, you can be playing on that if you choose to, and this will be the theme of your talk, which will come to soon. Again, I feel like now you have a question, it's coming in. Or just remember the numbers. And now it's going to be Manel. So welcome to this. Yeah!
So much of Anastasia. Thank you for having me. One of your team members, Evelina, and I are friends. She asked me to come. And I was thinking about what you showed before. Like it was like do what you love and share it with others. And basically, there's a lot of things in our society that we can question, and there's a lot of things that we actually like to enjoy and like participate in. But StreetGaris are working to be able to enable like the society that is more equal for everyone. So depending on who you are and where you live and what you do and your background and so on, the society is still really unequal. So that's why to be able to do what we love, we have to help each other to make that possible in different amount of ways. So StreetGaris is an intersectional and feminist and racist organization. I'm here. My name is Manel Rodrick. I'm a board member of this association, and let's see how we can connect this to the monthly theme now. Back in 2013, we started our organization, and the mission has been throughout the years to work to strengthen the democracy in our society and hand over the power to the people also to redistribute the power. So we challenge the people that...
Sorry, now for more power.
I forgot this. Do I need a mic? Oh yeah, for the... Sorry.
Sorry.
Should take it all again.
No, it's good.
It's fine.
Okay, well, our mission since back in 2013 has been to work towards a better democracy, to strengthen the democracy, to hand over the power, and to challenge the people that possesses the power today, our politicians, people in high positions and so on, because we are not happy with the way the society is looking today, due to the fact that some areas of the society has the more power and the more benefits than other people. And we want to bring that to attention and challenge it. So we work with democracy strengthening and popular education and advocacy to make this happen. But let's just go back and to talk about the fact that why StreetGaris can connect to the theme of now. Basically, back in on the actually International Women's Day in 2013, this is Eileen Merlasharin. She is the founder of StreetGaris, and she sent this text message to her friends in the north area of Stockholm, in Husby, where it all started. And she's like, listen, I have this crazy idea. What about we come together as a community and create this platform where we can talk to each other and strengthen each other through questions that concerns us and that we could like have a sisterhood in. Through this process, we also became more focused on the intersectionality part. That we could see the fact that not only being a woman in society makes it unequal, but making me a brown woman in the Swedish society makes the whole situation intersectional. Okay, it's based on more than just one type of discrimination. So that's why we talk about the facts that you could look at different areas of discrimination, but also the minority groups to enable the community. So the reason she started this was there was a lack of safe space and a room for people to come together and talk and bring out their own questions and their own relevant topics, because the public discussions and the feministic debate in Sweden is very white, to be honest. It's still today, like 10 years ago, and still today, there's a very majority of feminist discussion about the equality between men and women. But then, intersectional feminism is about, like I mentioned, looking at different other perspectives as well. Therefore, we wanted to create this safe room and a collective for us to be able to bring this to attention. So StreetGaris has since this day tried to fill that void for people as identified them. So this is a short presentation of our timeline, summarized, and from becoming to act now, and now. Because I would like to define that we are working with, how do you say, like ear to the ground, like very much ad hoc. So what is concerning us in the society today is very much what we like to bring to attention in different ways. So when we started back in 2013, within a year we had about over 2,000 members that were active and like discussing. And the first thing that StreetGaris did was to create this Facebook network. Facebook was like, you know, the top of social media, like back in 2013. That's where everyone was hanging out. So in this Facebook network that was only for women and non-binary, so people that not identify themselves as men are welcome. So it's a closed group. Is there anyone in here that's a member of the StreetGaris network? Okay, well, you can check it out. But what happened in here is that people started talking about like everyday things like that concern them, like how to find like the good hair products if you have like a different hairstyle that is not typical Nordic, okay? Or if you are talking about how to apply for a job in the best way, or how to find a good living situation. Everything was high and low, and then it ended up to that people wanted to meet in reality, because to actually feel that in this room I can feel connected with other people. I guess that's the main reason why you guys are here today as well, because you all are creative, you're doing your own businesses or within the entrepreneurship area. And because of that, you feel connected to each other, and you can feel that it's easier to be understood in different kinds of ways. So the members here joined together and like met in like different like brought their own figas, you know, and like hanged out and like strengthened each other in certain topics. I will speak more about Tala Med, which is speak with. But basically, it was a panel discussion series that we had for a couple of years. That instead of talking about a certain group of people, like let's talk about the gay people, let's talk about the Muslims, we were talking with them, okay, to bring their voices and their perspectives into attention. Pension rights, like that's I think it's rather unusual that people in like the 20s and 30s are discussing the pension rights today, because but the reason this started was due to the fact that a lot of us that are living in Sweden today have parents that came to Sweden as grown-ups, and they have a very few years of how should I like working years in Sweden. So their pension becomes quite low, right? So how can we work and how can we lobby to create a better system that is more equal and more justified for all people? So this started in 2017, and now they are their own association, like lobbying and doing this. So that's really, really impressive and really cool. I think you should check it out. Like it's, they're doing a great job. So they're not longer like a part of StreetGaris, but they were like the idea came within this network and then developed. We've spent a couple of years between like when there was a pandemic and before, like to reform our organization, because like I told you, we worked so much like here and now, you know, like our ears to the ground or like ad hoc kind of ways. And I think that's what made us really unique for many years. But then also we changed the board members like quite often, and we were a big team. So it wasn't easy to like make the association quite stable. So in here, back in these days, we reformed us and like looked at fundings and like how to actually define like who is StreetGaris today. And we have this joke that back in the days when we started, we were like, you know, we were young people, we were doing things, you know, like we saw, you know, positivity in society. We're gonna create change. And now we're joking about that. Yeah, like to be honest, StreetGaris is like in her 30s, you know. So because we all like you know became older within the years, and we're still around fighting. Other organizations to actually say that this is wrong, this is racist, and this is also like you segregate people, and this is not the right way to go. And so that's why we want to like lobby and create change. And popular education, I think, is about making knowledge accessible and available to everyone. Okay, like I don't know if you heard about like folkhögskola in Sweden, like, but it's pretty much also the same thing, that you're like, do you allow the knowledge also to come to you? And the topics that we want to share and lift, we want the very majority here and now to know. So if I'm a person living in the suburb of Sweden, and my opinions matters, but I think that the media and the very Swedish majority is talking about my life and my livelihood in different types of ways. This is for me, together with StreetGaris, to be able to make this knowledge about my life and my situations and my questions accessible to the very public. So people usually come to us with ideas to manifest and like issues they want to talk about, so we can help them, also our members, to bring their ideas to life, from discussion into some type of realized thing. So today our network is almost 10,000 members. It's grown throughout the years, and like I told you, it's everyday type of discussions, from beauty talks to NATO to the election of this year. So it's high and low. Let me give you a few examples of why we should act now. And now, basically anytime that it's important, because activism is the very foundation of doing something in society to create a change. I mean, to be honest with you, for a couple of years ago, I didn't identify myself as an activist, okay? I was like, for me, I had a very also stereotypic picture in my head who an activist is. You know, the people walking out in the streets like with flags and like shouting things. It's like, that's not me, but I done it too. Okay, I did that too. But the majority of activism is like, you could be an activist around like your dinner table with your family. You could be an activist like share your opinions in a group of friends or people that you feel connected to and say, I don't think this is right, or I don't think that's right. I think that we should listen more to this group or hear what they have to say. So this Facebook network, we call it the separatistic room because it's you have to like apply to become a member there and like fill out this form that you agree with our like our values, exactly. And 10 years ago it was well needed, and today it's still well needed. Once again, this is why you guys are here. This is why I like to talk to you about the intersectional feminism, not feminism itself, but in the intersectional feminism. That's why I want to talk about anti-racism and how we can work together to the society and make it more equal. And what we do is that you have to always originate from the group that the question concerns. If you want to talk about the right for the Sapmis, you have to ask the Sapmis, right? If you want to talk about how can we make the street society more equal for people that are non-white, how can we do that? If you are a member of the street society and if you're a white person, you have to ally yourself together with the people that the questions concern, right? Come together, organize and act, and always like have the mindset of what questions are important today and now for this group that we want to bring their attention to the spotlight. This is an example. This is Campbell. She is the head of advocacy at the Arena Opinion, I think the organization is called. And we invited her to StreetGaris to talk to our members about how to make your voice heard during the election year, because she's an expert in this type of questions. So then we invited her, we had like a digital talk, and she talked about these different ways. That's a very good way of using popular education to make people want to lobby in the future, right? So you can see how it goes hand in hand. And so this was online, so it was available for all our members, so they could like feel more calm and perhaps a little bit more safe of how to think in the election this year. And we're gonna continue doing these type of things. And is anyone in this room like concerned about like the situation with Sweden and NATO and things like this? Yeah, it's anything else than fun, and we are planning now to have like this meetup as well, like to invite our members and the public to discuss about this and like how we're gonna like act and do in terms of the fact that we now said yes to NATO, which is incredibly not good. So that's why this discussion of NATO was very active in our Facebook network, and then we decided, okay, let's take these questions and the concern from our members and bring it into an actual meetup to take this further. And then we invite different actors that are that knows things about this topic and share it with the members. So, Talet, or the speech, is a podcast that we launched 3 years ago. This is our third summer that we're going to do this. This is the speakers from last year. And as you can see, they are very representative. They are coming from not only different backgrounds, but their stories are their own. Like, has anyone in this room heard about Sommar i P1? It's a very typical and traditional and very popular Swedish radio station program that are sent like every day during the summer for, I don't know, maybe 50 years. And it's so popular, but the thing about this program that is very stereotypical, you have to be like a person that are famous or like accomplish something in life, that people that like being able to talk because everybody listen. But for us, we created this to challenge also that type of idea, because these people that you see here are very much the same as you and me, okay? Just ordinary people sharing their stories. Like Malin, as you can see here, she's talking about being a brown woman living in Sweden today, and she's adopted. How does that make her feel? Like, does she feel safe in these rooms, and like how is her relation to her roots and things like this. And I mean, Emilia talked about being a librarian and like being the only brown woman within a very like dominated by community, like being a librarian. And he talked about losing his brother in a very young age, and he's a US from the Sapmi, and like lobbying and put out advocacy to make their rights more heard. So this is ordinary people with their own stories that we want to bring to attention, because this is not the everyday stories that you hear. And so this is a podcast, so you can listen to it on everywhere there's a podcast, you know. And this is an example also how we act now. Through our popular education, last year, there was, maybe you could see that in the Swedish media, but there was a lot about the deaf shootings, like in the Järva area, like Rinkeby, Tensta, but also different parts of Sweden. So this is a national crisis. So we, instead of talking about it, like what to do about these shootings, we invite mothers who have lost their sons in the shootings, or activists from Tensta Mammorna, like the people that are advocating to say, like, to ask the politician, make a difference. This is my board member colleague who's like, she moderated the talk, and these people are mothers and activists and like talking about like, how can we create a change? Like, listen to our voices. We are the ones that are hurting from this, not like the people that live here, and so on. And when there was a huge debate about Israel and Palestine, we had a panel series about that too, like bringing different perspective into attention, and people that are either Palestinian or working at Palestinian activist organizations to bring this to attention. So that's also a way for us to use popular education here and now. I'm almost at the end of my presentation, but what I want to say, like, we want to create like brightness on the water, and the effects that we want to see for acting is to create more awareness in society and to make it more equal and bring justice into attention. Because today, my very strong opinion is that it's not equal, and I think that several of you that are sitting in this room will agree with me that it's still unequal. It's still not make every one of us here feel safe and welcome into every room that we go to. And it's due to how we look, how we talk, how we dress, and how our skin type is, or if how good is your Swedish, what is your education, where do you come from. All this is being questioned because of many different type of things. So, StreetGaris wants to be an association and player in the society that makes it more equal. And we want everybody to either join us, and if you are not, in the person that the struggle is affected to, be an ally. Because all of us sitting in this room is also very much privileged people in different ways. So use your privileges and become an ally, because then you and me, we can create a more, equal society and make the society more safe for us all. Inclusion, co-creation, and justice, thereafter can actually happen. So you have to ask yourself, what is now for you, and how could you become an ally through different topics? This is us, the board that we are today, and this is, of course, where you can find us. So please look into us, and if you have more questions, I'm happy to answer them. And that's about it. Thank you.
Hey, that was a really inspiring talk. I have a couple of questions for you before we open up for anyone else who has their own questions. Do you think that will ever be equal? You kind of mentioned maybe I'm white, you're darker skin, maybe we have different clothing, we have different levels of Swedish. Do you think we'll ever be equal, and what does equality look like in that idyllic world for you?
It's a very good question. I have to think that we one day will be more equal. And I think that equality will look very different from what we are talking about today. Because I think that I want to see a society where everyone feels welcome, and regardless where we go. And I think that we have a very long way to go, because as we can see, people use their democracy in very strange ways today. We have racist parties in our government. We have and that's due to the fact that we have democracy. So it's pros and cons. But I think that the more that we are educating ourselves together, the more we can stand up and fight back those really bad and negative people and groups that are affecting our lives in different ways. So I think that in the future we will have a more open society.
So it's more like being safe together, feeling like we're equal, even though we might look different or speak different or have different styles. That makes a lot of sense. I really liked how you kind of personified StreetGaris as a 30-year-old person.
Yeah.
I'm also in my 30s, and you can definitely make change. There's nothing to say that that hunger and drive we had when we were at university or when we were 20, that dips down. Maybe you get a bit jaded, but you can definitely still make a lot of impact. And I think coming to these kind of events really, really helps. So my second question is maybe a little bit more controversial, but equality is about embracing everyone and not segregating people into groups, like you mentioned earlier, right? How do you expect to make change if we're not inviting the people in those areas that can actually advocate for you guys, the old white males in governance? How can we invite them into our group so it isn't necessarily Team A versus Team B?
Well, I think that through the popular education, we bring our questions from the minority groups and the discriminated groups into the attention, okay? So that's when we educate each other together. Yet when we are lobbying, we are asking the people that usually are, these white old men, or whatever, how you want to define them, the ones in positions, okay? And what they care about is the rumors and their positions. So then if you're lobbying against this change and questioning them, they're gonna have to make a change eventually also. But I think it's more also about the fact that when you bring the knowledge into attention, and if you don't let the majority of the society, which are all, white Swedish people, have their own opinions about us, then if you educate and if you bring the knowledge into attention, then you also give them the opportunity to change their mind, But if you are a racist and you're a very selfish, individual, then you might talk to deaf ears. So, but the strength of coming together makes that change possible, I really believe.
Yeah. Because I really liked the line, make them your ally. So we're all on the same team. Does anyone else have questions from the audience?
I have a question.
Beatrice actually raised her hand first, but she was behind you.
She can go first.
Go, Akila.
My question is related to your members. So now I have quite a few. How did that journey start? How did you get your first members to join you on this mission?
Well, the first members was in this text message that Eileen sent. I don't know how many there were in that group, but that was a few first members. And then so let's say it was you and me, and then you talked to your friends, and I talked to my friends, and then we became more. And within, as I said, a year, they realized we cannot just have a WhatsApp group anymore. We have to have a platform to talk. And that's not within a year it's grown up to 2,000. So I think it was what do you call it, mouth to mouth,
Mouth
talking.
to mouth, word of mouth.
Mouth to mouth.
Like
I think that-
resuscitation. It's understandable.
Yeah, I think that works too. Probably mouth to mouth. No, word of mouth. Yeah. So that is like grown. And I think that, I mean, we have like volunteers that are like moderating the network today because we're 10,000 people. So like it doesn't have to like go ups and downs. But that's basically the development. Yeah. Did you have another question?
No.
Yeah, I mean, mine builds up a little bit on your last question and also on my personal experience. Like, I've been here since January. I'm from Spain, so European Union. I thought it was going to be easy to enter the society, and it's actually not. I've been working since April, like the 1st of April. I cannot get paid because I still don't have a bank account. Because it goes through the entire process of getting a personnummer, then an ID, then a bank account. I cannot get paid because I don't have a Swedish phone number. It's something that stupid. And it's also, so it's very difficult to enter society and like be part of a society. And also it's very difficult to get to know the Swedes. It's very difficult to, so that's why I said it's built up on yours, because are you actually like introducing within this this kind of like meetups? The fact of like being able to meet Swedes and actually they can help all these people to understand how the system works. Because I realized if you don't know the Swedish system, you're screwed. And it's so complicated to understand how it works. So what is your strategy in a sense of like trying to bring all these Swedish, it doesn't need to be a white old man, like
anyone,
a Swedish, I don't know, student or whatsoever that actually talks to these people and be like, okay, so if you want to find this, you can go here, you can go there. Like, are you actually implementing those kind of, gatherings? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you also for sharing your experience. I think that what you're saying is something that affects so many people today. And I think that what I didn't mention in my presentation is that we are not acting, here and now due to like things that are like, this is an interesting topic, this is a very interesting question. No, it's because the racism is structural, okay? The way we see each other is structural. It's discrimination on a structural level. So what's happening to you is due to the fact of our authorities like having too complex systems. And I think that what is needed to be done, and I can see many people are doing, is within groups and associations starting like these how should I say, like knowledge transfer, like that explains the system in like different languages, but also in different kind of ways. It is not that complex. I think that the highest number of entrepreneurs in Sweden are like the people running like their own businesses, like there are 1 or 2 people, or like a very small amount of people in just business. And there's like restaurants, pizza places, things like this. And there are like people coming to Sweden in like as an adult. And for them to know like how like Skatteverket, like the taxes are working, or like as you said, like register your businesses and things like that, it's a chaos. It's like a jungle. So what we do as an organization and like many others are like, they are like asking the authorities like to also provide the information in better like in easier terms, but also like in different languages. We go to the municipalities and ask the same thing. Then I know a couple of organizations that like have this information for like people that when you're new in Sweden, okay, they explain it in different kinds of ways. And there are meetup places such as how should you say, like the people's houses. Sorry?
People houses.
Yeah, like Folkets, exactly. I don't know how to say it, people's houses, popular houses.
Community.
Yeah, like community places, like town hall. Yeah, there we go. It's been so many years since I lived in the States, but yeah, town halls. Yeah, so like they have it here in Stockholm, but like in all like the different areas. Like I work in Kista, okay, that's in the Järva area in Sweden. That's like and the majority of people living there, like you know, Afro-Swedish people, and like a lot of them come from different countries, like Somalia and things like this, and they speak Swedish perfect, but they also want to know the information in a very accessible way. So then these like town halls and things, like they have gatherings, they talk about these topics, and like how can we help you to like know how to register this, and how can you get the personnummer and things like this. So I think that the Swedish society needs to be better in make it more easy to like enter the society, both in the like authorities like ways that you have to, but also to be more warm to each other. I think that Swedes are like super like they have a high, what do you call it, like integrity. Yeah, exactly, because like new people like scary, you know, and so we need to be more warm to each other and more welcoming. Like, and I think the most usual thing about Swedish people, like that they prefer to speak, you know, English. You know, so if you're an English-speaking person, you have a real difficulty to learn how to speak Swedish, because Swedish people are like, yeah, we're so good in English, so let's talk English. You know, it's because it's so usual, but to that, like, it doesn't enable people that are not brought up in Sweden, or the Swedish is not their mother tongue, to actually learn Swedish also. So it's a very like double-faced system in that kind of way. Like,
Comments on that actually.
yeah.
So like, one of my main goals in life was to learn another language, which is why I picked Sweden as my country of destination. And I worked really hard to learn how to speak Swedish. And whenever I, during my learning phase, encountered someone that switched to English, my strong personality would be like, no, we're not doing this. We're doing this in Swedish. Please respect me. And then they usually will. But I've seen in my life other people also assert themselves and say, hey, look, can you please do this in Swedish? I'm trying to learn. And then the respondent was kind of like, what do I do? I ended up talking to someone with one of my dog friends in the dog park, and I had the same problem with them. And he said to me, actually, Anna, I really want to practice my English. And I never thought of it that way. He said, whenever I have the opportunity to speak English, I really jump at it, because I never get to practice it. I only speak Swedish. So instead of me being ignorant and thinking, what a rude person, how dare they disrespect me, I then kind of saw it with a whole new light, and I was like, oh my goodness, they want exactly what I want, but in the reverse. So like, I think it's important to also realize that it's not necessarily that they're trying to be rude or standoffish or like high and mighty, that they actually might, certain people, not everyone, might want to practice their English as well. Do we have any more comments, or do we have any more questions before we...
One more question.
Yep.
Yeah.
for the internet people.
Thank you for the internet people. Yeah, I just had a question about like more about when you were like meeting in public, because have you seen maybe in the past few years, like, I guess the question, it's two questions. First is, where do you meet? Is it kind of in public? Is it in these kind of private spaces like this? And then second, have you seen a change in how these either public or private spaces are allowing you guys to meet? Because for example, I worked in Tensta at the Kunsthal, and we talked a lot about at the last exhibit about Tensta Treff closing and these like kind of public spaces.
Now it's opening again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was wondering if you kind of see within, I guess, this younger community, or maybe in different places all around Stockholm, do you see a change in where you're allowed to meet, if it's easier to meet now in public versus maybe when you started in 2013, and just more about, yeah, where you're actually, I guess, meeting in public together.
Thank you. I think that the network online allows people to talk, like, you know, whenever, regardless of what time of the day, and like things like this, and like be free and open in their opinions, basically, most often. But yes, we do organize like meetups. Well, we had you know, this pandemic going on, so everything had to be online. But this year we were very much longing to meet, you know. So we have a collaboration with the different student unions and not student unions, studieförbund. What is it called in English? Student organization. Yes, associations like OBF, you know, and Studio Feminist, things like this. We're working together to be able to have these meetups and different partners that share the same values as we do. So there will be physical meetups. So once again, check out our website, or we have this Facebook network. They have to apply to become a member, and then you have the association where you're a paid member as a small fee, and then we have our Facebook webpage and Instagram, of course, that you can just read. So there you can see that we do find these safe places and things like this for sure. And there was another thing I wanted to say when you say about the Tensta Konsthall and things like this. I think that the people that are living in the areas where they are very much affected about the structural racism and things like this, they organize within their own areas, and then through these town halls, Rinkeby Folkets Husby and things like this, they organize themselves to act, and they're writing this debate articles and things like this, and they're using the media also to be able to bring their voices to attention. Sometimes we help, and sometimes so many other actors and associations are coming together to do that. And I work on my everyday basis at a high school in Kista, and my kids there, I would say about 90% of them are Afro-Swedish, and coming into this area is a very unsafe place for them. They become anxious, and because they don't feel welcome. I mean, majority of my female kids, the girls, they wear hijabis, and being looked at, and when they come as a group, or for our boys, they come together, they wear the vest, they wear the bag, you know, things like this. People what's going on, you know? And they hear comments everywhere they go. The police are looking at them differently, and they're looking at other people in this area. So this is where I mean, when we are privileged and we have to be an ally, because these kids, it kills me that they don't feel that this is their city too. This is why they are just hanging out in their own, because that's where they feel safe. It's not about they want to only hang out with people that originate from the same country as them. They want to be included, and they're Swedish, their grades are on top, you know? But walking on the streets in the inner city of Stockholm makes them feel unsafe. So I think that that's also why they organize themselves within their areas to actually put their questions on the table. But we have to work together to make that change happen.
Is the Tensta the one that's next to Tensta Tower?
Yeah, Tensta Konsthall, it's when you come out of the Tensta station, you walk down, and there's this plaza.
Can you deliberately go there? Because I live in Tensta Tower.
Yeah, you
and
can.
I've seen the building, but I don't know if I can enter.
Yeah, they have an exhibit open now. It's actually about it's a really cool exhibit actually about voices from I guess all of dysphoria.
But do they do activities there?
Yeah, they have a lot of activities, and
Just check out the website.
yeah, how I met them was they had this thing that was for if you were 19 to 25 or something. They had this free art course, and then I went there, and it was just once a week. And then I met a lot of people from Tensta, and then I started this other program there.
So cool.
So you can, there's a lot of activities, and it's cool.
Thanks. Nice.
And they have a Sprock Cafe as well. Speaking. And the people there are really, really fun.
Nice. That's very good to know. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. And we have a little thing that we thought about as a team, that each speaker from now on will bring something small to the event, and then share, if I'm saying it right, or you can share something to one person in the audience.
Yeah.
Is that what you
Well, so you were like, it can be anything, like a leaf from the tree. I was like, a leaf from the tree? You know, I was like, no, no, but I know. You just gave me an example of like, she said, it's so something small. I was like, yeah. But this is a book. It's called Side by Side. It's in Swedish though, but for everyone that wants to improve their Swedish. But it's a book about the Feminist Revolution. So in here, it's a bunch of feminist activists and people like female leaders in Sweden. They're writing about their own perspectives on like the community of Sweden and like how they see it through their own perspective, through their eyes, their livelihood, okay? And Rona Kulasari is the sister of Eileen, and she was one of them that started this association 10 years ago. And she is definitely writing a text that I feel very related to, because she's like a sister to me as well. But I think that I'm going to give this to the community, okay? I cannot give this to one single person, but I'll give it to you and like to read in, to look in, and like there's a short like description on like each people. So like there's a drawing of the person and like what she is, so, and then like she's writing a small text. Okay, so intersectional feminism is for everyone. Thank you.
Maybe we'll like CreativeMornings from
Yeah.
library. I have this as CreativeMornings Stockholm. We'll decide what to do with it, how we arrange it so it becomes all the community. Great. Thank you so much. And Q&A, we've done it. There you go. We are it. If people don't have to rush somewhere, then feel free to stay for this.